welcome to Matchday Live as the festive football continues with Leicester City going to Cardiff, hoping to end 2023 with a bang. And you'll be able to watch it live on Fox's Hub tonight. I have all the details for you on that very shortly. But first, let's get our team news ahead of tonight's game with Leicester taking on Cardiff City in the Championship. And for Leicester, it is two changes from that Boxing Day draw at Ipswich with James Justin and Hamza Chowdhury coming in for Cody and Ricardo. So Hermansen is in goal, and then it's looking like the back four of Justin, Vestergaard, Fass and Chowdhury. That midfield three of Harry Winks, Keane and Dewsbury Hall, and Wilfred and Didi, and the attacking trio, Fatawood, Mavadidi and Daka. On the bench for Leicester, Stalacic, Cody, Doyle, Kazadeh, Suter, Ricardo, Cannon, Yunus and Marçal. As for Cardiff tonight, two changes for them from their game with Plymouth the other day. Ruben Colwell and Yakin Mate out. Josh Bowler and Emmanuel Stiopis are coming in. So Alnick in goal, and G. Gutias, McGuinness and Colin, Siopis and Wintle, the experience of Rouse in the midfield. Then Colin Grant, Fowler and Atete leading the line for them. So welcome along to Matchday Live. My name's Lewis Mason. Really good to be with you tonight. Loads coming up on the show. I'll tell you all about what you can expect over the next hour before kickoff. But first, let's introduce our guests for this evening. First, Leicester City legend, Jerry Taggart. Tags, how are you? Good evening.
Lewis, how the devil are you? Long time no see, mate.
It's been a while. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Season's greetings and all that.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Looking forward to tonight?
I am indeed, yeah. Another difficult game away from home, has to be said. But, you know, looking at the lineup, obviously no Ian Acho in the matchday squad, which is, you know, a bit disappointing. But other than that, I think the starting lineup is, you know, could have been the starting lineup the other night against Ipswich. But, you know, obviously Hamza Chowdhury comes in this evening, which I think is a good move. So, yeah, really looking forward to it.
And joining us from, I think, slightly sunnier climes, Leicester City Premier League winner, Christian Fuchs. Christian, good evening. How are things in North Carolina?
Hello, both. Thanks for having me again. Yeah, I'm in New York right now, in fact, and it's pretty cold. So I'm not as blessed with warm weather as you are, probably.
Oh, beautiful stuff. New York,
New York.
Festive season,
Yeah.
It's all right. Did you
The
have a
fairy
nice
tale of New York.
Did you have a great Christmas, Christian?
Yes, enjoyed it with the family. It was beautiful. Thank you for asking.
A quick look at Leicester's team tonight then. So as I said, no Ian Acho, a couple of changes from the other day. Busy time, 3 games in 6 days. You expected a few alterations from Enzo Maresca tonight?
Yeah, I mean, the games come thick and fast, and the way Leicester is playing, obviously it's with high intensity, and obviously you need to keep legs as fresh as possible and rotate there. And I'm happy to see Hamza Chowdhury coming into the starting 11. He will probably, in the build-up, which, you know, Leicester has a lot of possession, drop into midfield to create the back three with Fast, Vestergaard and Justin, and really looking forward to the game.
Now, you mentioned Hamza Chowdhury there. He's got the captain's armband with no Ricardo. What kind of a leader is he, Christian? I haven't been in the dressing room with him.
Well, when I was at Leicester, he was more of one of the younger lads, right? But what I can tell you from the way I know him is that he is full of enthusiasm, self-confidence, which is very important when you're wearing the captain's armband, but also a humble person. Great to always have a chat with him, and I'm happy to see him wearing the captain's armband.
Yeah, I think he brings energy to the team as well. And over this, you know, busy period where, you know, the games are just keep on rolling them out for these games, then you need someone with that energy and that determination. And that, I'm not saying this is his biggest attribute, but especially at this part of the season when you need a bit of fresh legs or you need to freshen it up, Hamza is the perfect player to bring in. And obviously giving him the captain's armband is just the icing on the cake for him. So hopefully, you know, he'll show that determination, that energy, that willingness to work hard, get his foot in when he needs to. And then obviously on the flip side of that, he obviously understands how Enzo wants to play. We've seen that earlier on in the season. So yeah, it's a big night for Hamza.
Yeah, big night ahead, and of course you can watch tonight's game as well. So if you want to watch on Fox's Hub, then do use on the screen. You can see it at the moment. That you can find out exactly how to have a little look at tonight's game, or via the website lcfc.com is how you can get there. I'm trying to think of the name of that little thing. What's it called? QR code. That's it. That's what I'm getting stuck with. Well, yeah, I don't know why I'm asking you, Tax, to be quite honest. I've seen you on your mobile.
Yeah.
Yes, you can scan that QR code. That'll take you to all the details of how to buy tonight's game, or via the website lcfc.com. Also, coming up on Matchday Live today, we will be looking back at that game against Ipswich. Of course, late heartbreak at Portman Road. Well, it felt like heartbreak, felt like a defeat, but we'll take a closer look at what happened against Ipswich on Boxing Day. We'll also hear from Harry Winks, pivotal to Enzo Maresca's side so far this season, and we'll hear from him ahead of tonight's game, and take a closer look at tonight's opponents, Cardiff. What will they pose? What kind of threats are in store for Leicester City tonight at the Cardiff City Stadium? That's all to come on Matchday Live. But first, as we said, we're going to take a look back at what happened at Portman Road on Boxing Day.
Burns has drawn out fast into the left back area here, and Burns one-on-one crosses in. That's a good ball. Davis at the far post. Fine defending from Ricardo. Well, the positioning was expert, and then the bravery to win the header. Otherwise, it might have been 1-0. In fact, it was Abdul Fatawu. I thought it might have been Ricardo, such was the quality of the defending. Oh, Daka, he's turned Burgess brilliantly here, Patson Daka. Mavadini's in space once more, edge of the box, shifts it onto his right foot and scores spectacularly. Oh, Steffi Mavadini curls a beauty beyond Václav Hladky. Leicester lead in this top of the table clash, and as things stand, they are going 9 points clear. What a strike! Look to bounce back at the first time of asking, and they might be in here. Mavadini has won it, the goal scorer. He slipped in. Daka shoots, saved by Hladky. Real opportunity. Again, Leicester's press was magnificent. They got beyond Morsey. Mavadini with a goal, and now almost an assist. Davis is going to swing in the first corner of the second period, and Burgess is up, and that is a chance, and he knows it. He's headed wide. Cameron Burgess, if that's on target, it might be 1-1. Two teams playing the way their coaches have asked them to, and here's Jackson, back to Chaplin. Chaplin will shoot, and Hermansen, brilliant save to his right-hand side. Portman Road was ready to erupt. Chaplin hit it well. Hermansen equal to it. Morsey goes beyond Cassidy. Morsey on his left foot, shoots deflected, oh, it's in! What a massive slice of luck for Ipswich Town. Mads Hermansen is wrong-footed. Portman Road erupts, and in the 3rd minute of added on time, Ipswich have equalised. 1-1.
So the clash of the top two started with a beauty, another one from Mavadini, but then of course that late goal, an absolutely gutting blow for Leicester City. They've had some time to reflect on it. We've had time to reflect on it. How do you reflect on it?
Listen, it's difficult, you know. So you've just mentioned about the festive season and the games coming thick and fast. Leicester has come through it unscathed. Okay, it's not a win. It's a point away from home against the team chasing you, you know, closest to you in second place. So overall, you've got to be pretty happy with that. And on another night, you know, Leicester could have been 2 or 3 up. You know, there was a penalty shout that wasn't given. There was obviously the chance there from Patson Daka that he just couldn't quite take. It just wasn't quite in front of him. There was half a chance for Dewsbury Hall to go past the defender, but he sort of stubbed the ball up into the air instead of in front of him, which would have been a certain penalty. So it was just a couple of little things that didn't go quite Leicester's way on that night, but still, you talk about the goal, the move and the build-up to the goal, that's straight off the training ground when you're coming through the middle. Mavadini keeps his width on the left. Wilfred Ndidi makes that inside run to drag the defender with him, and then it's all about the finish. Top drawer finish from Mavadini. So I think on the whole, you can't have too many complaints because just the little things didn't quite go Leicester's way, or they could have been coming in at half-time 2-3-0 up.
Christian, what were your takeaways from that game? Of course, it was built up so much because first v second, it was the big game of the festive period in the Championship. But of course, Leicester will feel they almost lost it because of that late goal, and it must be such a devastating blow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Leicester had far more of the game than Ipswich, and that's great to see, especially away from home against second place team. There were a lot of ups. What I would have loved to see, and obviously Jerry mentioned it already, you create such a high press, you create so many great moments, but then you miss a little bit the ruthlessness to benefit out of those, to get those goals when you win the ball up high. But overall, I think due to the amount of games that they're playing right now, the second half, I think Leicester lost a little bit of that energy and was more under pressure by Ipswich, who played for me a very disciplined game. And what I would like to see then is, yes, we want to play nice football, right? Everybody wants to do that. But at the end, it's about winning that game. And leading up to the goal from Ipswich, yeah, you can say it was deflected twice, and there's a lot of luck with it. But leading up to this moment was a couple of passes in your own half. Instead of, okay, we are tired, we have Iheanacho fresh legs up front, let's just play the ball into the channel, let's chase the ball and try to transfer the game into their half. They tried to play out. Fatawu played a ball across to Faz, where I think Fatawu played a phenomenal game, especially defensively. But that's how you put yourself under pressure, and eventually it resulted in the equalizer from Ipswich.
Yeah, it's a good point. We made that point the other night about that. You know, I know they want to try and play total football, but when you're on the pitch as a player, and you can see that your centre forwards being marked tightly, or there's a high press all around the pitch. What is what Ipswich done for the majority of that second half? And Leicester struggled to get any kind of cohesive passing movements going in the second half because of the way Ipswich played. Then sometimes, and especially in the last 10, 15 minutes, when the switches have been made especially, then you have to play percentage football. You have to see the game out. You have to play passes that are giving the players on the pitch a decent opportunity of gaining control and bringing other players into the game. And for that last 10 or 15 minutes, they just struggled to get out of their own half or get any momentum into the game. And yes, you can talk about the goal coming off two players, but that was all about the pressure that they'd built. I think they had one clear-cut chance with Chaplin, which the keeper makes a good save. I would call it a regulation save because he's that good. It wasn't a problem for him. Nothing he could do about the goal, but it was all about the pressure leading up to that, and that's where the goal came from.
I guess game management comes into that in a way, and I guess tonight, could you see a similar style of game in terms of whenever you go away, the away team are going to have towards the end that build-up, that momentum from the crowd giving them that boost, especially when there's only a goal in it?
Yeah, I think most teams, when they're at home, will be encouraged, you know, to take the game. Doesn't matter who comes in the town. Yes, they'll feel each other out. They'll work out where the strengths and weaknesses are. And then we see it a lot with managers. As soon as they get in at half-time, the tactics change, and they're trying to. So Cardiff, you'll expect them, you know, to come out and at some stage try and put Leicester under pressure because of the way they want to play. And we've seen it in the past with Leicester where they do make good decisions under pressure, and especially at home mainly, where I've seen like they'll try and force the play out from their own defensive third. They'll give away a silly pass or they'll lose possession in their own half. And then the next time they're in that position, I've seen Wout Fast put his foot through it and sling it out for a throw-in. And they're the kind of decisions that probably they didn't make the right ones against Ipswich the other night. But hopefully, you know, if that comes around again, then just clip one over the top. Or if so, nobody likes to say it, but if so, then just sling it into the stand for a throw-in, get your defensive shit, and we start again.
A positive to take.
I mean, Jerry,
Christian.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think Leicester obviously felt very comfortable in the game. I mean, you're playing away at second place Ipswich, you're dominating the game, and you know, as a player, you create this feeling, the momentum that whatever we do will work out anyway, right? But Ipswich has a lot of quality, and if you don't play to what the game gives you, hey, we are under pressure, we need to go long, we need to go wide, let's play the ball out, whatever it is, right? Just to transfer the game. Eventually, they will, especially with the home crowd supporting them, they will get this 1 or 2 chances. And yeah, in that case, Leicester was obviously unlucky, but like you said, you have to play a percentage football at some point.
Well, let's see what the manager thought of it. Here were Enzo Maresca's post-match thoughts.
Enzo, a 1-1 draw tonight. It was a tough end with that goal. How do you assess the performance?
Yeah, tough end, as you said, especially because when you are so close to win a game, it's a shame. But at the same time, overall, I'm very happy because to play every 3 games with the same intensity, we did well for me for 70 minutes, 75 probably. We conceded a little bit in the last 10, 15 minutes. We conceded a little bit of control of the game. And we need to improve on that. But overall, as I said, I'm very happy.
Very difficult place to come. We know Ipswich's home record. Of course, going into the 93rd minute, you wanted to win the game, but I guess the point at your closest rivals away from home can't be considered a bad result.
Yes, absolutely. Especially in this moment that in the last 7, 8 games we won 5 or 6. I don't remember now. But anyway, this is a tough pitch, tough team because they are doing very well. We were close, as I said. It's been a shame, but overall very happy with the situation.
How pleased were you with the Leicester goal, the pass, and then of course the finish from Steffi?
Yeah, it's been very good goal. I think we had 4 or 5 more moments, very similar to the goal, but we didn't score. But overall, as I said, we create, especially first half, 4 or 5 clear chances. Also second half, the penalty I think there is quite clear. But yeah.
I was going to ask that there were a couple of shouts, but in particular that one in the second half, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, probably, as I said, the penalty, we were already 0-1. Their player was already booked, so probably was the second yellow card, and they were with 10. But yeah, it's where it is.
And apart from that double deflection right at the end, how proud were you of the defensive steel and kind of will to win tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. We defend very well on the ball, off the ball, sorry, but not only at the edge. I think our pressing was very good. The first half, we create 2-3 chances from our pressing. As I said, in this moment, playing every 3 days also is difficult for them, but they were good.
He's still smiling. Enzo Maresca speaking after that. Late goal at Ipswich, of course, which meant it was a draw. But, of course, Leicester still on a decent unbeaten run, hoping to continue that at Cardiff tonight and finish 2023 with a bang. Now, you can watch tonight's game on Fox's Hub. And here's how you can do it.
It's a shot away. It might break here. And that should be a penalty, will it not? No. If the goal has been scored anyway. And MATCHDAY becomes the second player to bag his first goal for Leicester City Football Club. The Italian has scored in stoppage time.
So some more scenes like that would be wonderful this evening as Leicester go to Cardiff. 7:45 kickoff, so you can watch it on Fox's Hub. It will cost £10 to watch the game. All you need to do is scan the QR code that you can see on screen right now, or go to lcfc.com/Fox's Hub, and that will sort you out and get you access to the game this evening. You're watching Matchday Live. My name's Lewis Mason with Jerry Taggart and Christian Fuchs. As we build up to that trip to Cardiff, we've got our team in position. Matt Elliott will be our co-commentator, and we'll be catching up with him a little bit later as well. That home game against Cardiff, that was dramatic. Would you put that down as one of the best games, most exciting games of the season so far?
There was that one, and obviously the game against Coventry as well, where there was a couple of late goals from. But yeah, it doesn't get more dramatic than that. And you know, Cardiff came to play a certain way, and it sort of worked for the most part. You know, Aaron Ramsey scoring an absolute worldie. But I mean, this just shows you what this team's made of. You know, they're going all the way till the end, trying to get that winner. And obviously the debutant comes on and does the trick. And Cassidy, he's got a goal the other night as well. So yeah, I think Cardiff and the Cardiff fans will be expecting them to play a different style of football tonight than what they did when they came to King Power Stadium. You know, they're only 2 points off the playoffs with 34 points. Yes, they're in 11th place, and there's a few teams in between them, but their home form hasn't been that good lately. I think they've won 3 out of their last 5 at home. So they'll be expecting Cardiff to come out, and give a good account of themselves and try and get some more goals, because they don't score that many at home. I think that's only 18 goals they've scored all season at home, which isn't great for a team that are trying to push for the playoffs. And hopefully that will play into Leicester City's hands.
You said that Cardiff fans will be expecting something different. What do you think? What about them from that day would they want to see as different?
I think in the main they'll be expecting them to try and bring the game more to Leicester. A bit like, I'm not saying that they're going to go gung-ho, all guns blazing forward, but they'll expect them to have a little bit more impetus because of the lack of goals that they do score, which has obviously been an issue all season for Cardiff. They'll be expecting, like, if we've got a realistic chance of getting into the playoffs, then we need to start winning our home games, number one. They've only won, I think it's half of their home games anyway, which is not playoff form, even though they're still sitting there and they're just on there. So they're going to have to change sooner or later their style of play and try and get more goals and try and be more proactive going forward.
Yeah, we will look closer at Cardiff and the challenge that they might pose Leicester tonight very soon. But when we get to this stage of the year, Christian, of course, last game of 2023 for Leicester, it's kind of almost natural we start taking a look back at the year that's been. And for Leicester City, as it always is these days, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's been up and down, of course, the lows of the Premier League relegation, but the highs of this kind of newborn Leicester side under Enzo Maresca. How would you reflect on the last 12 months?
I think you should not look back too far, because that's nothing that you can really affect. You can just make the best of what's been given to you. And I think the team, the fans, the club itself, us, we can be proud of what is happening right now, what the development is at Leicester. I think Faz has mentioned it in a post-game interview. I think it was 19 out of 24, 23 games. And that's something respectful, especially in the Championship, which is a very tough league, to have such a record. And yeah, of course, you would have wished to have another one against Ipswich, but what we can see, or what I can see from over here, and having a couple of conversations here and there, that there's really a positive vibe around the club after last season, when probably things were not going as well as they should be, or as well as everybody would be. But it's great to see how the team is developing, the job Maresca is doing, and how the team is just pulling along.
And what have you made of that transition, Jerry?
Yeah, listen, he's done wonders, Enzo Maresca. I think you ask any professional footballer how they want to play football, and they'll all say, I want to play like that. When I come into training, I want to play that style of football. Nobody wants to run the channels all day long. Even Jamie Vardy doesn't, even though he can do it, and he's done it year in, year out. If you ask him, yeah, just play it up to my feet and I'll get in the box and put it, the style of football. I know that there's been people, mainly some of the fans, saying it's a little bit laborious at times and this, that and the other, but I think as a professional footballer, you'd be waking up every morning itching to get into training to play that style of football. And believing in the process as well. That's one of the biggest things I've noticed. They believe in the process, the players. Players like, his name's just left my head, the big centre-half who's come in from out of the cold. Vestergaard. He's having an absolute whale of a time. And he's standing out now as one of the main players in the team. Well, that's defensively, or getting the ball rolling. He played a couple of balls the other night, were sensational. The one to put Dewsbury Hall in. What a beautiful ball that was to put him in. So he's having a whale of a time at the minute, Vestergaard, along with others. So I think, credit where credit's due, Maresca. Indeed, from a defensive midfielder and the attacking midfielder, scoring, assisting. I mean, who would have known that? So you've got to give the manager full credit for the way he's performed this season.
Yeah, of course, indeed, in that midfield trio with Dewsbury Hall and, of course, Harry Winks, who has been looking ahead to tonight's game.
Yeah, it's difficult, but the most important thing now we've got to focus on is Cardiff. We'll probably have time at some point to look at the game back, but it's recovery now and get ready to travel to play Cardiff and try and come away with 3 points.
As a player, do you like the games? I guess less training and more football matches?
Yeah, it's good. It's difficult, especially this time of season, but it's difficult for everybody. So it's not just for us, but it would be nice to probably have a few more days recovery in between games because it's intense, especially with all the travelling. And we've been given quite a difficult schedule with 2 away games in and 2 difficult far away games as well over the Christmas period. But it's one of those things we just have to prepare right, do everything we can, which is to recover back at the training ground, get in the right shape and frame of mind ready for the next game.
It feels ages ago when Cardiff came to the King Power Stadium, but it was a very late goal from Cesare Casadei that won it, and they were a real test that afternoon, weren't they?
Yeah, they are. And every team in this league is a test. There's no easy games, and we say that before every game. Whoever we play against, whether it's bottom of the league, top 2, top 3, whoever it is, there's always different challenges, and they all set up in different ways and have different strengths. So we expect Cardiff to be another tough game away as well from home, which is going to be difficult with their atmosphere and their crowd wanting to beat us, and which we feel every team wants to beat us at the moment. But as long as we focus on ourselves and approach the game in the right way, which we do, we're humble enough to go into every game with the right mentality to keep winning and to keep trying to perform. Then hopefully we can come away with a good result.
Just finally, if you do win, it'll be 20 league wins before the end of December. Just how big a statement, how big an achievement would that be?
Yeah, it'd be amazing, but we can't think about that kind of thing. The most important thing is how do we approach the game. You can't control the result, but how we approach it and how we go into the game is the most important thing because like I said, that every team has quality in this league, and you can't go into games thinking you're going to win because you get punished. And all we can do is go into it approaching it in the right way, and that's what we'll do.
Harry Winks there speaking after the game against Ipswich on Boxing Day, and what a revelation he's been, Jerry.
Well, or has he? I think everybody knew about his pedigree, first and foremost. But again, when you go back to the way Enzo Maresca once, he was probably the #1 pick for Enzo Maresca. I need Harry Winks in my team because he will keep me ticking. He will get my team going. So I think he has found his perfect role in the perfect team for himself, Harry Winks. And I mean, great bit of business bringing a Premier League player to a Championship club.
What have you made of him, Christian? Since he arrived in the summer, of course, Leicester fans probably thought, great signing, solid. We know what he can do. We've seen him in the Premier League, but he does seem to have taken his game to another level as well.
Well, like Jerry said before, when you play, everybody wants to play the way Leicester plays, right? You dominate the game, you dominate the pitch, and which also helps each individual player to improve. It doesn't matter if you're a young player that's just coming through the academy or if you're in your later stages of your career. Having the ball all the time and playing the way Leicester is playing is just very enjoyable. The 3 things that stood out for me in that interview with Gary Winks was what I was hoping to hear, because it just reflects how Maresca is setting up the team, which was to have a humble approach, right? To show the right mentality and how to go and approach every game the same. It doesn't matter if it's Rotherham, which we also saw was tough in the first half to break them down, but it could also be one of the top teams, or in that case, Cardiff. It's never an easy game, but as long as the team is focused on what they need to do, how Maresca sets them up and wants them to execute, then again, I expect for Leicester to have a good game today as well.
If I can add a fourth to that, Christian, I'd say positivity. They've just conceded that goal in a way they really wouldn't have wanted to. And he's been thrown into an interview where he's probably
it's sickening.
It'll be bubbling underneath.
Oh.
But actually, to have that air of positivity, very similar to how Maresca spoke in his post-match interview. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, having a player like Harry Winks in your squad and, central to the way your team plays, with the experience that he's got, and again, you've got Vestergaard. The keeper doesn't have that much experience, if any, at playing at this level before, apart from what he's been thrown into. Come out, but so you've got Vestergaard, you've got Winks, you've got Vardy, you've got Iheanacho, who are your experienced players right through the middle of your team, and they help the younger players. And so to have that sort of attitude, yeah, absolutely spot on. That that is all coming from the manager. But he's your #1 player on the pitch for me, is Harry Winks, because he will buy into everything the manager tells him, even though he's telling the whole squad. The younger players on occasion, their levels dip, it's understandable, you know, because they haven't had the years of experience or the miles in their legs, as we call it. And so someone like Harry Winks can help the younger players on the team, encourage them if they make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, let's face it. But when you've got someone like Harry Winks in the middle of the pitch, encouraging you to get the ball, let's go again. You know, as a younger player, it's fabulous to have a player like that.
And when you talk about young players, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, one of those, and we can see the connection that those two have had in the centre of midfield. How important, Christian, are those connections, those partnerships, which almost as much as that solid spine of experience, those kind of little connections around the pitch, equally important?
Well, I think obviously Harry Winks is doing well, you know, in this position, the way he's closing down central space, he's covering the wide players, but then also in the game itself, how not only him and Dewsbury Hall, but how the central midfield exchanges positions, builds the game, and works in both directions has been great. I mean, the approach they have is very fluent, right? There's no real set positions. You can see Dewsbury Hall showing up in the 8th position, but then suddenly Ndidi is dropping in. So everybody knows exactly what they're doing. And in this last picture here, when you see it, you basically your 6 and your 8 running at the goal, 2 against 1 with the goalkeeper. That's great to see, because it's a very offensive mindset to play the way Maresca wants to play, but also always knowing that okay, as much risk as we take, we need to accept that we might be bound to concede, right? But again, if they would just show a little bit more ruthlessness in the last game, then it could be 2-3-0 at the break, and then we all have a happy day celebrating another Leicester win. But it has been phenomenal to watch how the team develops.
Well, talking of ruthlessness, 5 in his last 5. Steffi Mavadidi doing amazing stuff.
Again, you talk about revelations. He's definitely up there with his goal. I think it's 8 full seasons, isn't it? But as you say, on current form, he's as good as anybody in the league. This was earlier on in the season, wasn't it, against Huddersfield? And this was incredible. You know, he'd gone through just before that, and I think he was probably half thinking of scoring it to Jamie Vardy. Didn't he miss? But then he gets back up, bangs that one in against Southampton. And again, this is a great goal, great finish. Lovely finish again at Birmingham not so long ago. This more of his trademark. Okay, it takes a deflection, but that, you got to say, is probably the pick of the bunch of his goals. Fantastic finish.
And Christian, you always liked a bit of an overlap, but there's no way he's ever passing to you on the overlap, is it? He's always going inside to get that shot away.
Well, if he keeps scoring like that, who wants the ball?
Yeah.
I want to get the defender away from him.
Brilliant stuff. Hopefully more from Mavadidi today, and we will be able to watch it live on Fox's Hub. And how you can do it, have a little look at this.
He's very well organised, and I would say, along with results help, but I would say the smiles have returned to the club and to the fans. I think he's got a really good following among the fans now. He's been out around the pubs in Cardiff, even though he doesn't drink himself. So he's sort of become part of the community, I'd say, and he's made a big impression. Very well organised, tactically very astute. Maybe has sort of struggled going into the festive period, but I do think that's partly because they're where they are. They probably, you know, when they were in the playoff positions occasionally, I was probably a little bit punching above where they are actually, given the last few years at the club, the turmoil, the changes in managers. So he's brought I would say, a stability to the club. They are pretty good on set pieces. Dimitri Gutas and Mark McGuinness have both scored important goals, the centre-backs, from set pieces. And you've got to say that on their day, Carlan Grant, Callum Robinson, Yakumete, they're all capable of scoring. They're not prolific, you would say. So I think Cardiff rely a lot on the team contributing goals. That's where their problem has been this season. But they've actually done okay against, I mean, early in the season, you know, they pushed Leicester to the limit, didn't they? Leicester scored in injury time, if I remember rightly, and they felt a little aggrieved by the result. Hey, that happens. But they'd also drawn at Leeds. They pushed Ipswich all the way away from home as well. So they tend to be, I'd say, a counter-attacking side. So they're not too concerned if clubs go at them, which I would expect, you know, a rampant Leicester City to do.
That was Rob Phillips from BBC Wales giving the rundown on Cardiff today. And as I promised you, I'll tell you exactly how you can watch today's game on Fox's Hub. It will cost you £10, but if you head over to the website lcfc.com, you'll find all the details of how you can buy your Game Pass, or you can see the little QR code on the screen right now, so you can scan that and it'll take you straight to where you need to be to watch today's game. Great insight from Rob at BBC Wales about Cardiff and maybe the challenge they might face or pose to Leicester tonight. The one thing that we have talked about is goals. I saw a stunning stat, and there's probably a reason that MATCHDAY and Robinson are on the bench today. They've just got 2 goals in 41 combined league appearances between them, and probably when Balut came into the side at the start of the year, he probably was looking to them as they're going to be my goal scorers.
Yeah. I think, you know, Callum Robson's got pedigree, hasn't he? He's got a track record, and for whatever reason, it hasn't quite he hasn't quite hit it off this season. Maybe, I don't know, maybe playing on their counter attack doesn't suit him. But I don't know if that's the way to, you know, as you hear them say, that's the way they like to play. But you know, they've got pace in the front line. They've got a little bit of guile in there with Ralls. You know, he's a very technical player. No Ramsey, of course, we know all about him, but Ralls has got a little bit of technique about him, and Grant definitely supplies pace and quality and goals. I think he's their top joint goal scorer in the league anyway, Grant. So yeah, they'll pose a threat, but I think, again, for Leicester, it's all about being clinical. I expect them to control the game for large parts and create chances, and then it's all about being clinical, where, you know, as we've already spoke about, and so's Enzo, you know, if they were a little bit more clinical in those situations that they created, then the game would have been done and dusted by half time. So it's all about making sure you're clinical in those areas when the opportunity comes.
It'll be a huge frustration for Cardiff fans, Christian, but when you're looking at it on face value, look at their results recently. It's such a mixed bag. 2 wins, 2 defeats, a draw in their last few games. One of those defeats was against Birmingham, who really are having a struggle at the moment. So Cardiff fans won't really know what they're getting, but that's probably quite difficult to prepare to go up against, because as an opposition, you probably don't really know exactly what you're going to get.
Well, I gotta tell you, I really don't care what happened in the past, right? You're playing in Cardiff, you're playing against a team that sets themselves up for counter-attack, which we spoke before about. Leicester, like Jared, like you said, I expect them to dominate the game, right? And when you play against a team that's setting themselves up to break you on transitions, you got to be more diligent to establish your defensive shape as you build up. So that would be, for me, a key factor. What I would say to the players, even though it's a very tense period of the year, is that I want more from them, more intensity. Don't just be on their back all the time and demand more. Ruthless in front of the goal would be great. But again, it's definitely going to be a game where Leicester will have the majority of the possession, but then the deciding factor will be, what do they do with that possession? And I believe Leicester has the quality in every single game to like we said, to dominate, but also to score more than just 1 goal.
I think, just on the back of what Christian was saying, it was interesting listening to the reporter that they're good from set pieces. I think Kutas has 3 goals this season, and also McGuinness has chipped in with a couple, and that's obviously been an area of concern for Leicester in recent times. Although they haven't conceded as many goals this season as they did last season, say in the Premier League from set pieces. But it's all about the first contact for me as a defender, and making sure that first contact is a good first contact and clearing your lines, clearing the box. And so it'll be interesting to see how they get on against Cardiff when it does come to corners, free kicks, or long throws, or the like.
Well, Leicester City's lineup today might dictate with that because a couple of changes in defence. Let's take a look at the lineups for today's game, starting with Leicester. And as I say, 2 changes from the Boxing Day draw at Ipswich, with James Justin and Hamza Chowdhury coming in for Cody and Ricardo. So Hermansen in goal, Justin, Vestergaard, Fass and Chowdhury at the back. The midfield 3 of Winks, Dewsbury, Haaland and Didi, and then in attack, Fatawu, Mabadidi and Daka leading the line. Stolarczyk, Cody, Doyle, Kazadeh, Suter, Ricardo, Cannon, Yunus and Marçal on the bench. As for Ipswich, they also have 2 changes from their game against Plymouth. Ruben Colwill and Yaku Mate out, Josh Bowler and Emmanuel Siopis have come in. So Alnick in goal, NG Gutas, McGuinness and Collins at the back, Wintle, Siopis and Rouse in midfield, Carlin Grant, Bowler and Atete up front for Cardiff. So that's how they're lining up. Just mentioned about Plymouth, they're involved in the early game at St Mary's. They're playing Southampton tonight. Southampton leading by 2-0 at the moment. And then every team is in action today. So plenty of room for manoeuvre, of course. Leicester City very much hoping that come the end of tonight, they'll have increased their lead at the top of the Championship in time for New Year's celebrations. That is the aim. And of course, you can watch the game live on Fox's Hub. We'll tell you the details of that in a little while. But we mentioned one person who is coming in tonight is James Justin, and he's been talking to our commentator this evening, Guy Havord.
James, there was quite a bit of disappointment after that late equaliser against Ipswich on Boxing Day, but with a few days reflection, does it sort of feel a little bit different now?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to concede such a late minute and give up a couple of points, but it's going to happen over the season. We just got to take it on the chin and move on to the next.
Has there been much time to get out on the training ground, or has it just been rest, recuperation and travel?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been, as you said, rest, recuperation and travel. There's not a lot of time for the training pitch, so we've had a lot of meetings and hopefully we're well prepared for the game.
And from your point of view, you come back into the team, you must be feeling really fresh.
Yeah, I mean, I had the rest against Ipswich and the lads did really well out there, but I'm hoping that I play well today and keep my place.
What sort of game are you expecting today against Cardiff?
I mean, it'll be a tough game. I think we scored in the last minute at our place, so we know it's going to go right to the wire, but we're hoping to get 3 points.
James Justin there speaking to Guy Havord, who will be your commentator tonight alongside Leicester City legend Matt Elliott at the Cardiff City Stadium. We'll be handing over to South Wales very, very shortly. But firstly, we'll get some final thoughts from Jerry and Christian. James Justin coming in tonight, always a solid, dependable performer.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had a good season. Obviously, I don't know if he's being nursed, with the injuries that he has and also Ricardo, who misses out tonight, has had similar injuries over the past season. So I think it's a good move, and I think, I thought Fass was brilliant the other night against Ipswich, playing out on the left. He got dragged out there so many times, and I thought he did a great job defensively. But what James Justin gives you is just that nice balance down that left-hand side. He can play with the other foot. His athleticism is there for everyone to see, so he can get up and support. On the odd occasion, he does, get round the back and drive forward, but he just gives you that balance. And hopefully, defensively, he's right on it.
Yeah, of course, you'll know James Justin better than us, Christian, but in terms of the injuries he's overcome, and he seems to, again, it's that word positivity. He always comes back. He always strengthens. He just seems such a determined character.
Yeah, he's went through a couple of injuries, and I'm so happy and so glad for him that he's a very important player for Leicester City and found his way back and really performs on a high level. And Jerry, the times of clear centre backs or full backs are gone, because you see Fast suddenly playing as it doesn't exist anymore. Fast playing on the left side, Pereira at times also playing on the left side, then Justin right or left. So again, this is where football develops, and it's great to see how the players take this on board and really perform on a high level.
It was interesting, James, just in there talking about the team meetings. So we've just had time for meetings. It is relentless. It is go, go, go. But I guess as a professional footballer, that's what you relish.
Yeah, I think, again now, he's talking about, the modern day game. And a lot of the modern day game is centered around recovery and making sure you get yourself right, you get the energy back in your legs, especially to go again. So be minimal time on the training pitch, but also a big part of the modern game is spending time in meetings, going through what the manager expects, going through the opposition, what you've got to look out for, where they're strong, how you can break them down. So a lot of time now would be spent in meetings, whereas if I was in a meeting for more than 10 minutes, I'd be fast asleep. But obviously now it's a majorly important part of going in, because they have all the modern technology now to bring all the bits that you need to know as a player.
Yeah, and they.
Well, but especially because with this quick turnaround, for me, I consider classroom sessions. These are trainings. You don't only train on the pitch, you train your mind, you train, you prepare yourself for the next opponent. That for me is training just as valuable as being on the pitch.
And I guess how much different is it when you've got this relentless schedule, but you're sitting top of the tree, you're sitting at the top of the table. It must be a lot easier to get yourself pumped up again.
Yes, we know. I know that myself, and we know how good that felt in 2015. So it definitely makes things easier.
Okay, final thoughts, Jerry. What's happening tonight?
Listen, another tough game. It's away from home, a lot of travelling, but like the other night, like most games this season I've watched, Leicester fully in control, and hopefully those little pieces come together at the top end of the pitch where, let's face it, it's the hardest thing in the game to do is to put the ball in the back of the net. And if we get that bit right tonight, I don't see any problems.
And Christian, you've said several times today, I don't like looking into the past, so you're going to look into the future. What's going to happen tonight?
Let's agree to that. It might be a game of patience, with Cardiff probably locking themselves in the back and trying to look for quick transitions. We have seen that if Leicester scores early, the game draws. If Leicester, what they usually do, score mostly after minute 70, it's more likely a win. So I'll go for the second option.
Brilliant stuff. Christian Fuchs and Jerry Taggart. There'll be more from them throughout this evening here on Matchday Live, but it's almost time to head to South Wales and catch in with our commentary team for tonight of Guy Havord and Matt Elliott. But before that, just a quick reminder on how you can watch tonight's game on Fox's Hub. So all you need to do is scan that QR code that is on your screen right now. That will take you to the place where you can buy your Matchday pass for £10. If not, lcfc.com/Fox's Hub is the place to go, and you can enjoy every single kick from the Cardiff City Stadium, which is where we're heading next, and you'll be in the company of Guy Havord and Matt Elliott.
If you are watching on lcfc.com, just sit back and relax. If you are watching on social media, the live stream will finish shortly. If you want to continue enjoying our coverage, you'll need to head over to lcfc.com/Fox's Hub and purchase one of our game passes. If you are watching in a territory where the game isn't live on TV, you'll be able to watch a live video stream on Fox's Hub. Please visit lcfc.com/territories to check. If you can't find your location, live audio commentary is still available. You'll need to have an lcfc.com account before you purchase your game pass. If you already have one, please sign in and select your product at lcfc.com/Fox's Hub. Select the Buy button and you'll be taken to the payment page. Once you've followed the simple payment steps, press Continue at the bottom of the screen and you'll be taken to the Fox's Hub homepage. If you purchased a video pass, please select Watch Live from the Fox's Hub drop-down menu. If you purchased a Listen Live pass, please select Listen Live. If you purchased a seasonal or monthly video pass and the game is not being shown in your territory, please select Listen Live. If you are having a payment or technical issue, please email leicestertvsupport@streamamg.com. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the match.